Welcome to another edition of Ask the Hub. Today we want to talk about conversational AI and the future of virtual agents. And for that matter, we invited Clay Cardozo. He's the head of technology partnership of boost.ai. Hi Clay, how are you doing?
Hi David, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Great that you found the time for this chat. It's an exciting topic, conversational AI. For starters, what is it? What is conversational AI?
Yeah, I think at the simplest form, it's the technology that allows humans to talk to machines in a human way, which is the big distinction, right? Is that if I have to think about how I need to speak to the human or to the machine for it to understand me, then it's not really helping me out. And this is not necessarily about making it human-like so that it fakes me into thinking that I'm talking to a human when it's really a machine. That shouldn't be the intention, and I don't think that's what most are trying to do. It's more about helping me as the user get to the answer I need as quickly as possible, because that's what we value in talking to a human, is that I can just blurt out exactly what I have on my mind, and you're able to recognize, hey, this is what you're asking for, which is what we call an intent. And so when we talk about conversational AI, it's using natural language understanding so that the machine can identify, based on however I say it, that this is what I mean, and this is the best answer for that intent.
Okay. So the different ways how I can say things, and I can mix it around, and the machine will know exactly in which direction to go, more or less, I guess, right? Depending on the situation. And so how are you using it at Boost AI, actually, conversational AI? Do you have like an own way of doing things there, like an own framework or something? Or how's it done there?
Yeah, I think one of the big differences I see is that we are a conversational AI company through and through. That is our product. That's what we have the whole organization aligned behind, and that's what all departments are really focused on as far as how do we continue to improve the technology. And I think that's been a real key part of our growth. We were started in 2016 here in Norway, and then we've grown during that time to now be about 115 employees. We have offices in LA, Stockholm, about to open in London. And it's been reflected in our projects that we now have over 250 live virtual agents that are serving significant service needs for mostly large enterprises. And so, the question is why? I'd say it's because we have kind of one all-in-one platform for conversational AI that brings together everything that's needed, from the natural language understanding to the front-end interface, the back-end to actually design virtual agents. And it's this mix of having a powerful technology that's scalable with also being easy to use and fast to deploy.
And when we talk about conversational AI, people always think about chatbots, right? So this is the first thing that comes up in their mind. But is it just chatbots? Is conversational AI actually just chatbots, or is it also evolving into other ways?
Well, I think first it starts with, what is a chatbot? Because I think that term can be used for many things. It could be what we might call a clickbot, where it's just giving me some options to click through, which is just kind of an extension of a browser, or maybe it's working off of keywords. So first, it's actually having true natural language understanding to be able to have that kind of open text conversation and help guide the user to what they need. But then I'd say chatbots are now being used to go beyond that, where it's not just delivering me an answer to my question, but actually allowing me to take action, where I can actually perform a transaction or block a card or check on my account balance, all through that chat experience. But that's just kind of the traditional idea of it facing a customer. We're also seeing a lot of enterprises using this technology as a more in-depth knowledge base, where it can actually face their employees. And so, for instance, for one of the largest Nordic insurers, Tryg, they've faced this towards their customer service staff, where when they're on the phone, they have an easy place to just put in exactly what they're looking for, and that answer is delivered to them immediately without having to search through a list of responses. And then not all people access these types of things through a website or maybe through an app. I think we're seeing that a lot of companies are now looking at different channels and interfaces. So it might be social media, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, or whatnot, but also different interfaces like voice. So I think there's a lot of accessibility that's promoted by allowing people to speak with a powerful chatbot through a voice component, whether that be on the phone or using some sort of in-home device, or we're even starting to see some organizations actually providing a kiosk. So let's say these municipalities that we have here in Norway actually at their locations have a touchscreen kiosk that users can use and still have that type of interaction with the technology.
Cool and interesting. And what are the main challenges that you see in that regard? So when somebody wants to do a chatbot, what are the main challenges that they face?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. No, I'm kidding. That's probably the biggest thing, right? Is we've all had it. I've you type something to a chatbot and it says, I don't know what you mean, or worse, it gives a wrong answer. That's one of the big challenges, is just getting the user to be understood, whether it be any sort of slang or misspellings or maybe different languages, and the complexities that come in when you're having to switch from, let's say, English to Finnish. We have a number of live Finnish projects where in Finnish, it's not just a difficult language for humans to learn, it's also very difficult for a chatbot because there's all these different conjugations and compound words. One of my colleagues, she told me there's about 20 different ways to say the word car. So if I'm asking for car insurance, and that can already range where I might treat it like it's a browser, car insurance, or I might say, I wrecked my car. I really need to know about car insurance for the future. Those are all different ways to say it that I need to train a virtual agent or chatbot on. But then if you then factor in all the different ways you could say that one word, that can put a huge burden on the people that are working with the technology to just get the user to be understood. So I'd say, part of the challenge is, in a relatively short amount of time, being able to handle the different types of questions that somebody might bring up. But then it's also making sure that also fits within the actual organizational strategy, and that I think a lot of companies will hear, oh, we should have a chatbot, let's put this in place. But maybe not really thinking about, well, what place is this going to really play in our overall service design? Are we truly going to make this have the frontline support for our customers? If we're going to do that, how do we need to adjust as far as how our website is designed, how our teams are set up to make sure that we're using this in a correct way? Because I think if there's not enough thought put to that, then sometimes an organization might wonder, well, we got this technology that's supposed to be really good, it's supposed to work really well, why are we not getting the results that we're looking for, the traffic? Sometimes that's also about, what are we doing around that technology to really get the full benefits out of it?
So when it comes to AI, I mean, it's evolving a lot nowadays, and maybe some of these problems of the first ones that you mentioned, actually, about that the intent cannot be understood in the right way, might be solved in the near future, right? So this is something that I could imagine. But what else do you see yourself? How do you see it evolving right now, conversational AI? What can we expect?
Yeah, I mean, I think, let's just be honest. I think there's fears out there about AI and conversational AI. This idea of, is this going to replace me? Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to become irrelevant as a human because of this thing that we've designed? And so I think when I look at where this technology is headed, and really what I see as really this important place that we can take it, is that it's actually looking at the interplay between humans and a chatbot or machine, and that there's an opportunity to really refine the technology where, I think we're pretty firm believers here that a chatbot or a virtual agent is not always the best person to answer a question. There's certain sensitive topics, certain advice that's just going to be best supported by a human. But if we look at the people within a company that bring the most value to conversations and can really deliver really good knowledge, too often they're kind of bogged down by the same repetitive questions where they really don't bring as much value. And so first it's looking at how can we separate that, where a chatbot can really understand what the user is looking for, be able to either give the right information or help them perform the task. And then if they can recognize that it's something that they can't, there's this seamless handover to human who can now actually see that information of what the conversation was being had and then be able to take the conversation from there. That's one example. I'd say the other is that we feel very strongly that humans should play a big role in actually designing the virtual agent and continuing to refine it over time. And the people that we find are oftentimes the best at that are the ones that actually talk to customers on a regular basis. And so when we can empower with an intuitive technology, customer service agents, human resources staff, whatever that team might be, to actually be able to work directly in the solution, they help deliver the best UX. But also we've seen is that this starts to create new career paths for people as maybe they find, hey, this is actually something I'm really interested in is working in this technology, and they can do so. And where we're starting to see the power of this self-learning technology is then helping to support them when they do that, which is the ability to actually look at big data, to look at all the conversations that have been had with the virtual agent and actually say, hey, you know what? This is a question that's being asked that you might want to consider having an answer for. And I, as the human, can look at that and say, hey, that's a good suggestion. Let me now shape that. So it's not necessarily saying, hey, let's let the chatbot just go off on its own and start answering things exactly how it wants. It's instead using that AI, that self-learning technology, to make tasks that are otherwise quite challenging and time-consuming easier for the human to then refine that virtual agent experience and make it easier for them to work alongside together, which I think that's the path we want to go down. And that's really the vision that we have with this technology.
Thanks a lot for your insights on the topic.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was a good conversation.
Cool. So for the viewers out there, if you have other questions around conversational AI or to boost AI, please leave them down here in the comments and we are happy to answer them. See you next time.